Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about the card Vannifar Evolved Enigma. For 2 colorless, 1 green and 1 blue, it's a legendary creature, Elf Ooze Wizard 3/4 with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1. Cloak a card from your hand, which means put it onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature with ward 2, turn it face up anytime for its mana cost if it's a creature card, and put a +1/+1 counter on each colorless creature you control. Now, I think this is quite an interesting Simic commander, and that's not something I say very often because Simic tends to do one thing and one thing alone, and that is just accrue mountains of value in very predictable ways. This is cool because it does 2 very interesting and distinct things. It's obviously going to work very well with cloaked cards and morph cards, but it's also going to work very well as a way to sneak big creatures into play. The main way we're going to be doing that is by using blink effects. So if you have something like Ghostly Flicker, you can exile those creatures and return them to the battlefield under your control. That's really nice, and there's tons of those kind of effects in Commander at this point. That's one of the best ones, but there's obviously lots of different ones. So in that way, you can put something really big into play and then flicker it and get it immediately. And even if it has an ETB ability, then it's going to work immediately. So that's very strong. Imagine you put in a Terrastodon face down and then somebody tries to combo off. You just play Ghostly Flicker, get your Terrastodon, and destroy some of the things that they're trying to combo off with at instant speed. That's going to be backbreaking and very powerful. So that's one way to mess with this. 2 other good cards that would work with this would be Conjurer's Closet and Thassa Deep Dwelling, because they both allow you to do it repeatedly. So that works very well with the plan of having big creatures with powerful ETB abilities. However, there's something else you can do as well, which is with the card Ixidor Reality Sculptor. Now, there's not many cards that do this, obviously, because there's not that many things that interact with Morph, but Ixidor is going to allow you to turn up any face-down creatures. So again, you can just paying 3 mana, get something face up. You won't be getting the Enter the Battlefield trigger, however, so this is a bit more narrow, and you're going to have to work with cards that have good static abilities or good combat damage triggers or things like that. A good example would be something like Consecrated Sphinx. If your opponent is trying to draw a ton of cards, you could just turn it face up and then you'd be drawing 1 million cards yourself as well, which is obviously very nice. But the sky's the limit, of course. That's just the way you can build around the first ability. You can also build around the second ability, which is really interesting as well. You don't actually have to go morph at all. You could just build a really cool artifact token deck that's going to be spamming lots of little guys and then buffing them every turn. Getting a free +1/+1 counter on all of your artifacts each turn is actually quite good, particularly if you're going aggro or if you have a modular deck that's going to care about counters being put on those artifacts. A card that I would really love to play in a deck like that would be Lux Artillery. That means that basically every time you play an artifact creature, it's gonna get Sunburst, which means it's gonna come in with 2 extra +1/+1 counters. Add in some nice proliferate effects and some other stuff, and soon you're going to be dealing 10 damage to each opponent at the end of each turn. Lux Artillery is a card that I've been trying to find a place for a while, and Vannifar might be one of the best decks it can go into, honestly. So even though it seems like a pretty weak card on the surface, both of those modes offer really nice build around potential, and I think this is a very cool one to build a deck around. If you want to get your deck building juices flowing, there's 2 very specific decks that you can build, Blink and Artifact Aggro, but they're very different and you can find a lot of self-expression in the way you build them. So I encourage you to think about new cards when they come out in that way, trying to see how deep you can go into each of their abilities and thinking about all the fun decks you can build with them. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care.